Good morning, trading world. It is June 27, 2022, and this is my pre-market outlook and technical analysis for day trading the SPY. The title for today's outlook is Up, Up, and Away We Stall. We stretched the top of the volatility box from last week and looks like we could stall or get some type of reprieve for a bit. I often speak of my analogy of the market being a runner in a marathon, and in running that marathon there are planned water break points, and the daily time frame has one of those points between 393, 394, and 400, somewhere along in there. Seeing this and the gap up in internals prompted me to take a couple of short positions on Friday at the close. The monthly chart is in control and it is coming into a water break point as well. So I expect some big chop to come in this area. The next time frame to take over will be the 30-minute and the hourly, so this reprieve will likely find support around 388 and 385. Let me get us to the key levels of the day. Alright, here we have the key levels of the day. Starting on the resistance side, we have our jack resistance at 392 to the 393 area. Then we have our queen resistance 394 to the 395 area. This 394, 395 area, it's a point of interest where if we get to it, it could be pretty easy to flop up to this 396, 400 area. Then we have our king resistance here at the 396 to the 400 area. On the support side, we have our jack support at 390 to the 389 area. Then we have our queen support at the 388 to the 387 area. And then king support at 386 all the way down to the 381 area. The main thesis for today is bearish, closing below the 390.08 with a projected target low of between 388 and 385. We have an alternate thesis, which is bullish, closing above the 390.08 with a projected target high of between 393 and 400. The current channel we're in is 379 up to 397. With that, let's get into our scenarios of the day. Alright, our first scenario is our expanded range day structure. We could look to set a decision area high boundary around the jack or queen resistance area before pulling back. I do kind of expect a somewhat sharp pullback, but we're going to find support somewhere between this somewhere around our queen and king support area. I'm really looking at that 385 very hard, and I'm looking at that 385 because it's the midpoint of the trend channel that I've been tracking. So I expect to pull back there and to find support, and maybe I'll come back around and show you that trend channel. But this is scenario number one, our expanded range day structure. And expanded range day means we're going to push or really test boundaries. And the lower boundary that we set today is going to be pushed which is already kind of set at this 390 area. So I expect us to push that boundary. All right, let's get to scenario number 2. All right, here we have scenario number 2, which is our rounded reversal day type structure. We could get a continued push higher towards the jack or queen resistance area and find midday chop around either that queen or king resistance before spending the same energy we use going up to come back down the second half of the day. That is scenario number 2, our rounded reversal day type structure. All right, here we go with scenario number 3, which is our trend day down, which means a lot has to happen before the open. We would have to open gap down and start with a pop back toward the previous close. We then find resistance on or before that previous close, then begin the downtrend for the morning. We find midday chop around either the possible queen or king support. And it'll be interesting to see going into the close whether we get a pop or rally going into the close. Today, because of where we are this early, there is a vice versa warning on the trend day down. We could more than likely have a trend day up, which would look similar to this, being able to continue where we are, have a fade back toward the previous close after the open, and find support on that previous close, and then start the uptrend for the morning. We find our midday support, our midday chop either around our queen or king resistance. And then again, it'll be interesting to see how we react going into the close. Those are the scenarios. This trend day down, it is the least probable scenario for today. But however, I do expect some type of reprieve that starts today. Not sure if we get all of it out today, but I do expect that reprieve at some point to start. We also have a weekly, we have a bearish bias on the weekly time frame. And that weekly bearish bias puts us with a retrace back down to 378. I don't really see it at that point yet, but it is possible. So just remember, we do have a bearish outlook on the weekly forecast. Now to go back and show you what I was talking about on the trend channel that I track. Give me just a moment. Going back to the 4-hour chart, as you can see right here, this is the middle of the trend channel that I've been tracking. And on Friday, you can see where we broke through that middle and we're coming into a resistance area. So I felt it only right that we would get some type of reprieve that would bring us back down and maybe test the middle portion of the trend channel at some point, whether it be today or tomorrow. But my assumption was that at some point, because we've been really active in the overnight sessions. So I knew we had a little bit more to go, whether we got to all the way to that 393, 394 area, but I just wasn't sure whether we would do it during our session. So I was more than happy with the risk of taking on at 390 just in case there wasn't a chance to get to this 394 because of the activeness in the overnight session. And that we would come up, test that area, and then find our reprieve and go back down and test somewhere around this 385 area. So that's pretty much what I was looking at, what I was thinking, and my intentions on the shorts that were placed. As always, I hope this helps. Please understand and know your risk. Wishing you a positive trading day. Have a great one.